Hello. On time, like always. The stream is just for me. It is literally just for me. I'm gonna finish the rest of Fantastic Findings Hidden Seasons. It's self-explanatory. This is either gonna take an hour or like 10 minutes, depending on how good I am. And depending on who shows up, I might show other stuff too. Let's get into it. I wish you. Let me make sure the game is. Hold up, wait, no, hold up. Don't forget. There we are. Okay. Okay, let's go. We read this. Okay, what do we need next? I clicked on you. I thought I clicked on you already. Am I high? Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess this is just a glitch because it says here I'm only missing 4, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna ignore the Sherlock Holmes character. Center of attention in a nativity scene. Let's see. This is the only thing I could think of as an activity scene, but I don't see any. Okay, clearly not outside. I mean, keep in mind the other ones. This is on the countertop by window, half that. This one I can't see the hint. And this one ended up on the wrong side of the museum. What if not looked like the past hour that I've been doing this level? Hang on, I gotta check something. forgot to gobble that. Okay, so that's the train. Okay, I can't close that. Okay, it's just a barn. Nothing new here. Nothing in the outhouse. I don't think it's in here. Any of the items. As far as I've like searched this room upside down and shit. I really do not think any of the 4 remaining items is here. That I've checked like twice by this point. I forgot this. Check the quarters. I don't think I checked the quarters very well. Oh, there you are. First of many, which is 1 out of 4. Okay, 4. What's in the middle? Okay, I should probably start trying. Okay, this tree is just flying. I don't think it's in here. Any of the 3 items. Search this place upside down again. Is in here? No. Is this? It is. Oh. It's in a okay, this train. Gotcha. Okay, it's in the... I looked in every other train except this one. Okay. That makes sense. Double check. So we just have this, and wherever this damn flower is. Are you holding it? No. I think there's nothing else in this room. I've double checked. Yeah, I don't think I checked in the spaceship yet. Okay, nothing in the spaceship. Alright, check those. Can I check this? I feel like there's something inside here. The stairs? No. Always look up. Activity scene. Oh, that's a clever detail. One of the deers is Rudolph. Okay, rice pudding. And one of the flowers. In an activity scene. Milk. There you were, in the middle of an activity scene. I'm not sure how can class that. I guess it's like near one, like over here, or I guess whole museum counts as an activity scene. Okay, that makes some sense, I guess. Did I not eat this? I guess it's next to the sheep praying, I suppose. Okay, I am nothing in here, I think. Yeah. Boop, 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 boop. Now to find the item where I don't even know. I like literally don't have a hint as to where it is, so let's see if we can find that soon. Okay, missed a bunch of those items. Okay, it's flowers probably in the other area. Let's double check here. It's probably in this area, yeah. Let's check up top. In case I miss anything at the top. That's not what I want to do. I want to do this. A bird's eye view. Yeah. It's in here now. The penguin is in there. Is it this? Yes!
You did it! You found all the items. Some of them twice. You saved Christmas. Santa must be proud.
Where is Santa anyway? I suppose since it is not December yet, it is now. We have to wait and see if he returns to his house. Come back in December, and I'm sure we can find him to find out the end to this story. So I suspect there's probably gonna be an update to this game to feature, I don't know, Santa's house or something. Cool. Maybe here? How much if we go here? Okay, I already did this. My bad. Yeah, that's that. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Cool. I'll leave the credits playing. I don't think anyone's gonna watch the stream or watch it afterwards, but thank you to the developers for making this game. There's definitely effort put into. My mind is a bit fried right now, but there's effort like put everywhere. Like definitely like the location design, the graphics themselves. It is clear you put the time and effort into making this. And I did enjoy playing the game, to be clear. That's why I had so many streams for this, just me finishing off the rest of the game. It was not addicting, but like I was incentivized to like finish every level of the game and find at least the main items. The side items are gonna take forever to find, but I enjoy my time with this game. Yeah. That's it. Maybe there's nothing else to say. Alright, before I end stream, I'm gonna let's see. So they recently updated True Fear Part 3. I'll post this on my Romotommy channel too, but probably I'll just record the footage later, but yeah. Yeah, they finally updated True Fear Part 3 to have the extras content material. So I'm gonna check that out. Just record my reaction to this and share my thoughts. I might re-record the no commentary version, or just use the no commentary version of this. We'll see. This was yesterday, by the way. This was extremely recent. The update. Okay. Alright. Bonus. Let's see. What do I want to click on? Behind the scenes or... Oh. Wallpaper. So they finally added... Let's go through the whole list. I think these ones reviewed already. This one I think is new. Yeah. This one's... Oh, I forgot. I probably should have done this for that from now. Oh well. I already previewed. Wait. This one's new. This one's same as before. This one's new. I like the collage-esque vibe of this. Some of the wallpapers, it's unique. So you're looking downwards. I am the washi so far to the left, but pretty fine. I am the why Harley is so much to the right, but I can't complain. Let's see. I think this one's... Let's see. I think this one is this one is about the same. Yeah, just double checking. Okay, collectors are the same. Evidences are new, I believe. Okay, Act 1 and Act 2 and 3, yeah. Our story.
A rich man came to the
Okay, this is about the same as the the game itself. This one again, okay, I think these are about the same. This one is okay. I guess it just took a while for them to code in X1 and 2 and 3. There we are. Oh, it's a little. How did I not notice this? But you used to laugh at people with their panic attacks. Jesus, Charles. Okay, I think that's everything for these acts. Any nuclear? Nothing here. There we go. More music. I think this is the same. I think this is the same. I'll double check it a bit. Replay, I'm pretty sure it's the same. I know there's the big one, but oh, hello there. Yeah, they updated the game to have finally the extras content like yesterday. I'm just looking through that right now. Yes, yeah. Let's see. Hang on. Okay, expert. I didn't look at the big stuff yet. Okay, this were the puzzles, right? Oh yeah, okay, there's the hidden object scenes. Hope you're doing well, laughing at 3. Let's see. I'm just checking everything before I check the extra content. Okay, nothing new for collector, cutscenes, music, replay, achievements. Nothing new there. They finally added the evidence book, but it's the same thing we saw in the game itself. I think it just took a while for them to code in like Act 1 and then Act 2 and 3 separately for some reason. It's the same thing, yeah. No, we really just scared for your future. I hope. I'm not sure if I can come up with kind words for that, but I hope this at least distracts you from your worries for a little bit at least. I'm sorry to hear that. Okay. For the wallpaper, before I show the behind the scenes, I think some of these were about the same. I think the only nuance is like this collage, this collage, and one of Dahlia and one of Holly. Those are the new wallpapers. Let's see. And finally check the behind the scenes stuff. Okay. Let's see. Bonus chapter, deleted scenes, codename Immortalis, making up full disclosure and saving goblins. Okay, bonus chapter. The bonus chapter that became Act 2. We first imagined Part 2 ending with a bonus episode. It's only the list made packed with clues but never spilling the full secret. With the launch portal Big Fish cancelled, the obligation to release the bonus episode vanished and so the extra revenue from their platform. I couldn't bear to throw all that work away, so we folded it into Part 3 as Act 2. That sounded simple. It wasn't. We had to redesign the chapter and rethink the entire game. Originally, Part 3 was an open world. Harley would roam dark forests, crack over the high school, repair the cable car, and eventually reach Lottie's estate and an abandoned mine. Combining that plan with the bonus episode proved impossible. The estate was cut. Yeah, I was wondering. I'll say my thoughts at the end. And the open world shrank into the tighter self-contained zones, a switch our publisher liked because most players clearly prefer clear chapters. The downside, story flow, many scenes were built around gameplay we'd already finished, so I had to tell big chunks of the plot to scattered notes. Not my first choice, but the best way to keep the tale alive. Thanks for rolling with it. Yeah. I did notice there were more notes in this game than like any audio tapes, really. So these guys, I guess that's Dahlia, Holly, and Jack and Victim. Bonus. Let me understand what this is trying to say. Like Part 2 would originally have a bonus chapter. And then Big Fish cancelled Part 2, which, yeah, neither of those parts are still on Big Fish. So we folded into Part 3 as Act 2. So I guess Act 2, let's see. Originally Part 3 was an open world. Roam dark forest, eventually read an abandoned mine. Combining that plan with bonus episode proved impossible. The estate was cut and the So Part 3 was originally just like basically just Act 1 but bigger. Because I was thinking we were gonna finally reach the Lottius estate. Because that's been talked about since like Part 1. So I thought we were gonna visit like the mansion we talked about since Part 1, but we never really did. So that got scrapped. So as for, let's see, what else? I guess that explains like the big shift between Act 1 and Act 2. Because I guess they had to rethink Act 2 a little bit. Like Act 2 was like when we visited the apartment of our mom. And so having that be the bonus chapter for Part 2, it's a little hard to imagine because it's so disconnected from the rest of Part 2. Oh, by the way, I don't remember if I showed this, but there were screenshots of actually you want. Oh wow, the pause menu shows up on the extras menu too. Did I show this like on the Facebook Goblins? I'll show this real quick because that would explain a lot. Part 2. It's gonna be like a couple of minutes. I know I'm like putting you on edge to see the rest of the content, but I promise you, I just show this off real quick. Okay, yeah, right here. Think this is it. Okay, this is part 3. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Okay, on Facebook, like when they were still making part 2, they released screenshots of like what they made in part 2, and like some of those screenshots were just like gameplay footage from part 3. So let's show this real quick. So like this is let's see, comment. No, not that. Okay. This is from 2018, but this is before they released part 2. In October 2018, and like you could see here, these are like screenshots supposed to be from part 2 from 2018, but then you like this gets used in part 3, and so this is in part 3. Yeah, this is in part 3. Yeah, so these are from Act 2 of part 3, I believe. So I guess this was supposed to be part of the bonus chapter of part 2 before they moved it to part 3 as Act 2. I guess that I saw this before, and I'm not sure if I shared this, but I guess that finally explains that. Okay. That took a while to show off. Okay. And deleted scenes. Lengthy. Okay, wait. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. I'll re-record the footage for later. I'll post it on Roma Tummy. A healthy project turned into the biggest detour of the project. I left with 70% of the game done, a fat design dog, and a seasoned Hopa designer, the producer in charge. He promised greatness if given total freedom, so I handed him the keys and stepped away. 6 months later, I opened the build. Unique sequences were gone, replaced by copy-paste actions. Cut, unlock, unscrew, fetch quests for metric switches, buttons, and emblems. Each scene was to be played separately, and a dozen scenes had vanished outright. The producer gone. After wasting 6 months rolling his edits in, we then spent the next 3 months ripping them out. Still couldn't salvage everything. What you see below are the casualties of that detour. The fault's mine. I trusted the checklist instead of checking in. Safeguards are tighter now. One painful lesson is enough. That would explain the 7-year-long gap. Push the 3-face statue, and today you drop straight into the heart of darkness. The scene where Harley watches the interrogation. Originally a hidden staircase, a hidden stairway led to a procedurally generated labyrinth under the temple. Players follow call markings, some restored, some found in old farms to chart a unique path everyone. The producer axed it as not casual enough. Okay, so it cut the maze. The labyrinth ended at the underground river. Cross it, solve a puzzle set, and only then access the Heart of Darkness scene. Once the tower began to crumble, Harry had to activate a corkscrew lift that led the character up to the altar. When the labyrinth was axed, the sewers went with it. Behind the tree. Wait, hold up. Wait, oh wow, there's still more for this. To reach the rooftop water tower, Harley once repaired a construction lift hidden behind the tree. After the redesign, it duplicated other mechanics, so we trimmed it for pace. One of the most puzzling decisions the producer made, I guess in keeping him anonymous, was to cut the whole elevator shaft piece. My favorite the action beat, and the reason Harley fears heights. We fought to restore the shaft, but skipped the final elevator room to save costs. We did explore like the elevator a little bit, but yeah, this would have been cool. Elizabeth's secret. Throughout the game, there are subtle hints about Elizabeth's drug use. Originally, there was a sequence that emphasized it further. Probably would have helped for the whole trilogy, but okay. In the Pentagon closet, metal pipes snake up to the roof. Her dealer's private delivery chute. Like around here. A note hinted something useful was jammed in one pipe, but the roof held a forest of lookalike chimneys. Players had to block the closet pipe, light a smoke bomb, climb outside, spot the one chimney, puffing smoke, then shove a chimney brush down to dislodge the item. There was also a nice little jump scare when, as you open the pipe cover, a mannequin's hand would slide down. The entire chain was finished, but the producer flagged it as too complicated and tore the logic out piece by piece. Shame, it was a very smart grounded puzzle and a neat way to flesh out Elizabeth's character. I'm not sure you would be able to tell this would be like where the drugs for Elizabeth came from, but like it's stated here. I guess, yeah, I guess that makes sense, yeah. Here. Abyss flashback. A cut temple flashback shows Church posing as an archaeologist, realizing Laudius planned to order ancient artifacts himself. A few traces linger. Holly notes the relics look brand new and even say, made in China. Assembly Hall. We planned more scenes in Act 1, including the school assembly hall. The time and resources were budgeted, but ultimately spent on fixing the producer fiasco. Here and there, dozens of micro-actions and side puzzles fell to the cracks as Sample lives in the Skyway. Takeaway lesson, trust, but verified. Okay, save, suitcase, save, that, journal, that, scales, crossbow, this puzzle, this machine, this target arrow, mirror, this circle thing. I wish this could have been elaborated on, but sure. And cutscenes. Let me drink this. We aimed to animate each page of Heather's story, but each fresco took weeks. We kept the opener, planned this closer, then ran out of money and trimmed it. Act 1 already ends with enough cinematics, so this one stayed on the shelf. In this scene, Holly would have watched the fresco burn away. What's a fresco? I'm sorry, I forgot what a fresco is. Oh, the mural painting. Gotcha. In this scene, Holly would have watched the fresco burn away, then suddenly found herself in the middle next to her grandparents' house. For a brief moment, she forgot the present, hearing children laughing and seeing the three sisters sitting under the treehouse. Then, as the music turned ominous and their eyes went dark, Holly would snap back to reality, with Dahlia now standing behind her. Okay, burning that, close her eyes. I guess this was during the end of Act 1, I believe. There were swing moves. She notices the three children. They became dark and then notices Dahlia right behind them. Into the abyss. This cutscene was meant to play after the carousel collapsed and Holly saw Dahlia in the ravine. It was designed to foreshadow the elevator ride to Holly's childhood apartment, blending past memories with the present. The goal was to create the feeling of a long and inevitable descent towards the truth, a journey shaped over years and not just a single elevator ride. Since the cutscene wasn't essential to the story and didn't include a scale element, it was the first to be cut when time started running out. Press the elevator roll, go down, notice something weird. Holly notices it. Free Yourself was meant to appear in the second half of the prologue. Holly's lighter flash reveals a kitchen wrapped by asylum towels. Two quick payable rooms lead to the enlightenment chair, occupied by Holly. Cutscene. Real Holly, in the chair, frees the other's arm as Dahlia approaches from behind. Camera flips, the restrained Holly wakes in an empty room and finishes unbuckling herself. Loop logic made visible, cool but too expensive. Oh, so there were two Hollys here. So Holly's trying to free herself. Dahlia approaches her. And then Dahlia is back into the chair, I believe. Yes, one of the 6 micro jump cuts we storyboarded it. In Charles' kitchen, Holly lifts a jar with faces. Hears a whisper, glances aside, looks back to find she's holding the mannequin head from part 1. Fun but not essential. Most mini scares would drop to save on costs. Okay, so she picks on that. Alright, this would have been a decent scare. Like, pick up that, hear something, turn around, then look back and see the mannequin head. Gotcha. Okay, technologies. In part 3, I wanted us to take a step out of quote-unquote flat artwork and toward a more immersive world. Because every scene started as a 3D model, we could export a depth map, a grayscale image where white is close and black is far. I've been taught this before. This is right. Feed that into the engine and it fakes real lighting. Headlights that carve into fog, siren flashes that chase down hallways, and shadows that wrap around columns. I left the producer a wish list. Switchable lights, a red wave coder that briefly refused Daria, but none of it got built, and by the time I returned, the budget was gone. A few rooms still used the tech, but 90% of its tricks remain on the cutting room floor. Okay. I was taught something similar in my game class, like a way to not fake, but like, how do I say this? It's a way to add depth to a scene per se. I'm not really sure how to explain it. My proudest gizmo almost made the part 2 launch. Picture a drag and drop flowchart. Move an item or action to another scene, and the editor auto checks for conflicts, then offers to reshuffle tasks so everything still makes sense. The bonus, procedural replayability. Objects could respawn in new spots, puzzles could chain in fresh orders every playthrough, a slightly different path. We have even planned most puzzles with a quasi-infinite number of variations. Story-wise, it was built for the original ending. Holly, dying from the dagger wound, chooses whether to enter the circle or linger in a dream loop, and it is up to the player to decide. That explains the different endings. I showed you in the Facebook post, there was originally multiple endings for part 3. That explains this, and that explains the loop. Gotcha. There was a set of rooms and an elevator door to unlock. Each elevator ride would drop into another set of similar rooms with remix puzzles, an infinite descent until the player decides they're ready to let Harley go. The tool even tracked item rolls. Already found a cutting item tool in scene 1. It blocked the silence from adding a pointless second one in scene 5. Sadly, the producer stuck with spreadsheets, the team devoted to hard coding, and the editor went back in the box. Maybe next project. I would love to see this. Like this, if the developer like had bought offered this as a tool, I would buy it. Like I want this for my own games. That sounds really cool. Okay. I have seen in 5BN's recent games that they do add different puzzle variations across different playthroughs, but that's only because they don't want players to look up a walkthrough, because their recent games have been free-to-play versions where players don't have to spend money on hints, and so they just look up a walkthrough. So 5BN recently just added a lot of variations to puzzles, but even then people still make walkthroughs for that, so it doesn't really matter. But like doing beyond just puzzle variations, like moving items to different locations and like puzzles chaining in different ways, that's a really cool concept. I get why it was cut, because that is very expensive, but a lot to consider. But that's pretty genius, not gonna lie. I would buy this if the developer opposite. I'm not kidding. Okay. 2 and 6. Codename Immortalis. Codename Immortalis, the game that never surfaced. I think I've heard of this before. I am aware. After Mystery Valley hit big, good thing we played Mystery Valley last week. Like, right on time. We dreamed even bigger. On Hopper that would make Mystery Valley look tame. Scarier beats, layer, a story, lavish cutscenes recorded Immortalis. The story, year 1952, death of the Great Depression, heroine Eleanor, 17, curious, kind, but stubborn. With money tight, Eleanor's parents sent her to live with her reclusive grandfather, a once brilliant scientist broken by his wife's death. The old man Barry speaks to her, locks her room every night, and strange machinery darts through the walls. Eleanor stays upbeat, better than a bread line. One midnight, a note slides under her door. Instructions to pick the lock. Foreign actions leads to grandfather's study, an elevator plunging to Immortalis, an underground Art Deco city, which is was used in Part 2 and Abyss, now scarred by barricades and bullet holes. Grandfather built the place as a finishing school for the dead. Believing etiquette could cure reanimated corpses, he staffed 5 city sectors with clockwork caretakers. A nurse, a policeman, a laborer, and researcher, each storing its memories on a platinum record plus one unfinished prototype. But every attempt to resurrect his wife ended in violence. With each failure, he grew crueler, opposing him as Father. Father A, the town priest who is convinced the experiments are blasphemy. He's the one who slipped Eleanor the note, hoping he toppled grandfather's work. While grandfather is obsessed with the appearance, Father only cares about the immortal soul. Both miss the good that both the patients and the robots exhibit. Eleanor sees what the two men miss. She helps robots, comforts the restless dead, and starts to knit the shattered city back together. A cinematic outbreak forces grandfather and father to cooperate. Grandfather, finally facing his own monstrosity, sacrifices himself to save the priest. Hearing the dying confessions of a patient, Father A grasps that a soul can grow inside broken flesh. He vows to shepherd Immortalis instead of purging it. Eleanor repairs the unfinished prototype, installs the 4 memory disks, and creates the perfect being grandfather chased. The robot helps her, but they get separated during the escape, leaving the door open for a sequel abroad on Art Deco ocean liner. The sequel was to be focused on the concept of free will, as both prototype and Eleanor try to survive a zombie outbreak on a sinking ship. Okay, that took a turn at the end. The fall. 2 years in, half the game was playable, many cutscenes voiced, then funds ran dry. Big Fish asks for another mystery failure, and as the original took us 3 months to make, we accepted, hoping to quickly come back to Immortalis. That 3-month side gig's title was, you guessed it, True Fear. By the time True Fear won a ship, zombie empathy was mainstream, and Bioshock owned the Art Deco city niche. Another studio even released another title called Immortalis. I read the writing on the wall. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah. Also, Abyss made a hit-out game about an Art Deco underwater city. Most assets vanished in a server virus during True Fear's launch. What survived, sketches of few scenes. The first sketch of the grandiose intro lives here as a tiny museum of the game that never was. Pour one out for Eleanor, Grandfather, and Father A, forever wandering the lost city beneath our hard drives. I could see the resemblance to Part 2. I guess that would explain why Part 2 takes on a... Okay, this says how. A very heavy Art Deco asylum theme, and like was a little bit teased in Part 1. I guess they just didn't want to leave this to waste, which is a good thing because I still really like Part 2. It's Part 2 is still my favorite. I like the location and everything, so I'm glad they didn't leave this to waste. Okay, that let's read this. Yes, Eleanor. Yeah, apparently Green Gamer was the original name. I think there's no audio intentionally. Okay, that's a big ass city for this cutscene. Damn. Hmm. I guess there was voiceover, but it got lost in the server virus thingy. Eleanor, grandfather that we're never gonna find out more about. The city, shelf, another shelf, a statue, more article stuff. They definitely used this in part 2. This and one of the automatons. Maybe they could have used the automatons in part 2, but it's already good enough as it is. It's a cool concept. Making of. This game has 119 scenes and 237 close-ups. Each one started as an idea, a story beat, not just a backdrop. Every room feels safe, like you could still turn back. The further Harvey falls, the stranger and heavier the spaces become. Below, you can peek behind every layer from scratch. Follow a single scene from first doodle to final animation. Concept art, raw sketches and mood paintings. 3D art, the 3D scale bones notes that give each room its bones. The title, how we stitch together the cover image. Dive in with wherever you like. The toolbox is wide open. Concept art from scratch, 3D art, the title. Let's go in the order of this. From scratch. This. Very intricate. Concept art. Okay, more stuff. I began with a quick, brief stick figure sketch and a photo of reference shots, travel photos, movie frames, anything that nails the mood. Then our 2D artist turned that rough kit into a polished concept. We rarely nail it on the first try. Ideas ping-pong do a few lively, okay, sometimes heated rounds. Either the art bends backward towards my original vision. Oh, sorry. The music threw me off. It's been silent this the whole time. Either the art bends back toward my original vision, or the version is so strong I rewrite the gameplay to match. Every clash makes the scene better. Let me drink some water. This is Holly's kitchen, the alignment room, the high school, the classroom, another classroom, carousel, the principal's office, the church. They definitely added a bit more distance between the church and the elevator. The church, inside the church, this item, this item, this item, the investigator, the mirror, and the final mirror, a location. Act 2, this hallway, this closet, the bathroom, Jessica's room, the scary tree, the kitchen, this bedroom, this hallway, the outside, this machine, this elevator shaft, this ladder, this room, this puzzle, and this bedroom. In Act 3, this temple room, this place, this room with the statues, the furnace, this puzzle, the carousel falling down, this pop-up, this other pop-up, the final room, this pop-up, the final pop-up with the mirror, the statue, all the figurines. I think some of them are like, I don't remember someone holding a camera or whatever that is, or the suitcase. Like, this is the final version right here, and this is I guess they changed how Charles and Christopher looked. This is I guess one of the artists, Christopher Smith, and here's Jessica. Okay, 3D art. After the concept is locked, we built the whole scene in 3D and render in grayscale. No textures, just shape and lighting. That's what you see here. At this stage, our VFX team slices the scene into dozens of layers so clouds can drift behind treetops. Birds can dart in front of roofs, and frog can snake between both. The image looks seamless, but it's a stack of carefully choreographed plates. When the layout feels right, we drop a texture and send the render back to 2D, where the artist hand paint the final scene over it, with almost nothing of the 3D scene. It's a lot of passes, but skipping any step risks wobbly perspective and evens it out. So yes, every single room and close-up spend time in gray limbo before getting its final paint of cold. Okay. Here's, yeah, I can see the lighting the lighting that's, yeah, the lighting that we're referring to. The schoolhouse, the courtyard, the final mural place, this final location, this place, and the rooftop. And the last, it's total games. The title. Cover is the culmination of the entire game. One image that should control the overall impression. While I usually have a pretty good idea of what I want before I even start working on a game, I postpone it as long as I can. By the end of the production, the game's mood is clearer, and the team's own art can spark better ideas than editing a sketch months earlier. When we finally kick off, the brief is deliberately fake and open to everyone. The chat explodes with dozens, sometimes hundreds of sketches. Roughs. You see a handful of those drafts here. As usual, we began wide, then I grabbed one of the artist's sketch, dropped a mirror frame on it, and we iterated from there. Step by step, the final cover emerged. Equal parts team experiment and last minute gut call. I think this is a statue in the final room. Yeah, the statue in the final room. If we kept the shushing, the iconic shushing pose, this would not have worked. I was just about to say. The iconic shushing pose was absolutely essential. I guess the statue in the final room was supposed to be the one doing the shushing. I like the idea of like a mirror showing Holly and the other mirror showing a darker Holly to foreshadow Dahlia. I guess they didn't want to spoil that. They had to keep that pose, yeah. I still don't really know what the shushing pose is meant to exactly represent. I know it's the only time anyone does this in the trilogy is like part 1 where Dahlia shushes at the camera, and like in this game where I think Harley during the dream sequence at the end of Act 1 shush toward the camera too. I mean, it doesn't really need to make sense, but I guess it's just to be silent of like the dark horrors of what's going on. Yeah, I think that's everything in here. This kind of reminds me of the Dada art style, like unironically. Okay, making of and full disclosure. Welcome to full disclosure. This is the part of the jewelry box where we lift every hidden panel. If you've already finished the game, dug through the notes. If you already finished the game, dug through the notes, and still want more, you're in the right place. Each section here opens one of 4 candid spotlights, scrap endings, layered story tricks, time loop secrets, and a grab bag of nods and anecdotes. Click any subsection to see how True Fear was stitched, unstitched, and restitched again. Spoilers abound, myths collapse, and the last veil comes off. Enjoy the deep dive. The publisher's ending. When Part 3 finally reached in 2025, some players felt the psychological trauma with you belonged to a horror trope already worn thin. Ironically, 13 years earlier, when I first pitched the ending, our publisher thought the opposite. Too strange, too original. They asked for something safer. Then, the alternative I proposed turned the Rosemary's Baby template inside out. Instead of a literal devil waiting to be... What's a Rosemary's Baby? Is that supposed to be... Oh, Rosemary's Baby is real-life psychological film in 1968. I guess it apparently had the same trope too. Instead of a little devil waiting to be born, the evil would be entirely man-made. Charles Laudius' grandfather, a geologist with a flair for spectacle, stitched together symbols for from... Okay, wait, hold up. This is the original ending. Charles Claudius' grandfather, a geologist with a favor for spectacles, stitched together symbols from every religion he could find. He predicted an earthquake, staged it as prophecy, and vanished, leaving townsfolk certain a Messiah had walked among them. His descendants kept the rites alive, unsure whether grandfather's power was scheduled or just stagecraft. Yet, the rituals, extortion, sacrifice, fear still damaged real people. That accumulated suffering awakened something ancient, drawn not to faith but to pain. It appeared to young Dahlia, offering revenge in exchange for all three sister souls. In this scrapped final cutscene, Dahlia would even travel back through time to murder Claudius' grandfather, explain his mysterious disappearance, and proving the evil was a self-fulfilling creation. No external antichrist, only a community's cruelty crystallized into a monster of its own making. That was my Auntie Rosemary's Baby ending. Evil as a human echo, not as a supernatural plan. Let me reread this to make sure I'm getting this right. Okay, so this part here, I guess it makes sense that this is the ending. Let's say it was just, because originally it was just the True Fear trilogy was literally just one game, and like the part 3's ending being the ending to that one game would have made much more sense than the ending to the whole trilogy. I've said that before and I still believe that now. So like, I guess they had, like, because of the publisher, they had to change it so that but because they expanded like part 1 into a whole trilogy, and like they were asked to like not do the ending by the original publisher, but then they did the original ending for part 3 anyways. This is the ending. I guess the original ending for the trilogy, I suppose. So like, let's see. I feel like, like I like the ending for part. Okay, wait, hold up. Caveat. In isolation, I like the ending for part 3 where it was all psychological trauma. But as an ending to the trilogy, I don't think it works well. I feel like they should have kept the whole supernatural thing straight and like done this ending. I can see why some people would not like this ending either, but like I feel like it would have kept in tone with the rest of the trilogy, in my opinion. Because it's still supernatural, and like it refers more to why Charles is doing everything. And like, yeah, I feel like this would have been a more fitting ending for the trilogy, in my opinion. Okay, Nesting Doll. The story was originally designed as a layered structure like a nesting doll. Each layer seemed to reveal the truth, but was itself just another illusion. Heather's fairy tale version of events, told through her frescoes, was meant to end with part 2. Then, in part 3, Howie would begin to doubt it and uncover a more mature version told by Dahlia. In a note, Christopher would observe, the best way to hide something is to pretend you're hiding something else. Dahlia's story was smarter, but still a lie, just aimed at Holly instead of Heather. The original plan was for part 3 to end with Dahlia's version as the final truth. Unless the player has... The original plan was for part 3 to end with Dahlia's version as the final truth, unless the player made specific decisions across all 3 games to unlock the real ending. That would have revealed the final layer, but with delays and releases spread across platforms, this approach became unworkable. We considered keeping the true ending hidden within part 3. Most players would get a ghost story with Howie's revenge, while a few could dig deeper and unlock the final act. But even that idea had to be dropped. Building an entire act for a fraction of players wasn't sustainable. I do get that. That is completely understandable. After part 1 release, I noticed how deeply fans were analyzing every detail while replaying the game over and over. That inspired me to add a meta layer, where Dahlia would begin addressing the player directly, trying to trap them in the loop. In one version, she would call up the player by name, pulled from device settings. That probably would have dox me, but okay. I have mixed feelings on that. I'm glad they didn't go with that. When in part 2, Dahlia communicated with Howard to the typewriter, she would say, "You can end this anytime. Choosing yes would close the game." The publisher wasn't keen on this idea, and in the end, neither was I. The cost, complexity, and potential confusion outweighed the benefit. After hundreds of pages, the planning, rewrites, and discarded endings, the team began referring to the narrative simply as the nesting doll. It fits. Monica moment, yeah. I'm not gonna go in super depth, but like if she did call me by my name, I probably would have been doxxed. So I know I probably shouldn't. Oh wait, no. Theoretically, I recently updated my laptop's account so that it says my name and not says Roma and not like my real life name. So I should be safe if this was done. But this would have been like pretty good if the game was meta. Like this deadass would have been elevated the trilogy to a even higher level. In my like, it's already pretty high. This would have elevated the hell out of it because there is no hidden object game I've really played that really is meta. The closest is like the game saying like the player name, like based on what they type, but like that's pretty standard. I get like not saying like the player's device name. That would have been my. Maybe there should have been like unless it's like a toggleable setting, like a streamer mode or something. Anyways, I don't want to yap about that too much. Let's see. Let me reread this. Let's see. And with, I do get why. Okay. I did call it that like the ending of Act 1 was like the original ending for Part 3 if the player did make the right choices. But if the player makes the right choices, they get more content to Part 3. I do get why they cut that because... No, sorry. I do get why they didn't go with multiple endings because... that would have been rough if like a lot of hours of content which was hidden behind making the right decisions across like multiple games. Like not just Part 3, but like multiple games. That would have been a bit much because you would have to replay all 3 games just to get the correct and the true ending in Part 3. Like it is ambitious and I like the idea, but I like realistically that is too much time and commitment to do realistically. And like I guess that could have been done in Part 3, but even then because like there are multiple endings. Like you've seen like Ballet of Rapunzel, but like it's like one choice you make at the end. Like having it so that the multiple endings have like several hours of content locked behind is probably very risky because you risk players like not getting that unless you directly tell the players that. And asking the players to replay the game is also asking a lot because even Act 1 was like several hours straight, so I get it. Part 2, yeah, I wish they were... The meta part of this would have been nice. The loop. One of the core ideas across the trilogy was a recurring loop, both visual and narrative. I did notice that with the dagger, yeah. In Part 3, not only do we witness its origins, but we see it unravel. As Harley replays events, she begins re-encountering herself, breaking free of Dahlia's control and pushing further than before. Some of this remains in the game. The Pentagon with the dagger from Heather's house reappears at Dark Force High. Harley from Act 3 sends the contraction lift to her other self in Act 1, which shifts her reality and causes the carousel to collapse in the temple basement. In Act 1, a gunshot triggers a flock of crows. One crashes into the window. This ties back to Harley scaring the crows on the sky bridge in Part 2. That explains that. Remember at the beginning of Part 2 when like the crows were scared by a gunshot and that never gets explained? I think this is implying that it was a loop. caused by Harley shooting, scaring the crows with the gunshot at the end of part 2. And like that was a loop that's shown at the beginning of part 2. That explains that. Fortunately, for some reason I still remember this detail. I don't remember why I still remember that one detail. I am glad I do, otherwise I would not get that at all. Unfortunately, several loop details are cut by the producer. The biggest cut was the weather system. Act 1 will begin with clear skies and gradually shift to a storm. Then, after descending on the lift, Holly would find herself under clear skies again, hinting she's now in another loop. In Act 3, the same weather shift would repeat, suggesting Acts 1 and 3 happen simultaneously. In the original designs, the game would even jump between loop iterations. After certain cutscenes, the loop would suddenly change different items in the inventory, diary notes, even layouts, to show that Holly was shifting between versions of herself. Thankfully, I realized this would be too confusing and dropped the idea. This is a cool idea, but I do get why this was cut. Like, if I was playing the game with this idea still implemented, I think I would be more confused. But like, I get, it makes narrative sense, but like, I can see why it would confuse a lot of players. I also plan to visually reinforce the loop and cutscenes. The ending of part 2 was originally meant to show Harley unconscious in the enlightenment chair. I also plan to visually reinforce the loop and cutscenes. The ending of part 2 was originally meant to show Harley unconscious in the enlightenment chair while the camera rotated around her, and to cut with Dahlia pacing in a circle. That circular motion would then repeat at the end of Act 1 in part 3, with the spinning frescoes in a circle. Finally, during the ending, as Harley prepares to use the dagger, the world would rotate again, revealing the truth and how Dahlia and Elizabeth corrupted it. Sadly, due to the budget limitations, we had to simplify the part 2 cutscene, so the rest was scaled back to match. Okay. That explains part 2's ending, like, because it shows us being sent back to like the day of the massacre. But if they showed like this ending instead, that would have fit so much in more line with the rest of part 3. Like the fact that part 2's ending showed us with Harley being sent back to the massacre, really, I think it really threw people off. If part 2 ended like with this ending right here, with Dahlia walking around Harley, that would have made it like less misleading for what part 3 would be about. Was the bonus chapter of part 1 an alternative loop? I guess so. That seems to be like the case now. I don't know if that's possibly. This is the cut weather, and like these, yeah. You see here like Howie walking back behind her. I think we saw a little bit of that in part 1. I think it looked like Dahlia to me. I looked back on that cutscene. I think it was Dahlia's design walking behind Holly, if I recall correctly. But even still, if it was Holly, then that is foreshadowing. And nods and notes. Okay, this is even more. I have an hour left. I should have time. While shaping the trilogy, I swept nods to stories that inspire me. Beyond Line of Wings like Fallout's Watership or Shaun the Dead's He's Got Red on Him, two deeper references stand out. Restless Ghost urges revenge. A herring must decide to be or not to be. And the villain bears a familiar name. See, Laudius, these echoes are intentional. I read Hamlet. I don't know. I actually read Hamlet. I did not get that at all. See, Laudius. Hamlet. Oh, King Claudius. C. Laudius. Charles Claudius. King Claudius from Hamlet. Got it. I read Hamlet. Okay, now I get the reference. Rosemary's Baby. Our evil co-plot riffs on Polanski's classic. The sister floral names. Heather, Dahlia, and Holly pay tribute to Rosemary Woodhouse. Notes. We couldn't have... I can't click on those. We couldn't afford a good character artist while looking on part 1. So our friend and painter Van mocked up Howie using his wife Viola as reference like he often did with his paintings. When Viola later appeared at a studio party, the team did a double take. I could see the resemblance, yeah. Cool that there's a real person behind Harley. Christopher Smith cameo. We were trying to cut costs wherever we could, so I borrowed a friend's name for the professor, then photographed him for the assignment brochure and voiced the character myself. The stage announcer voice calling him up, that's the real Chris, recorded in one take over drinks. Chris now runs a bar, so Professor Smith asks whether you like another. Don't blame the drinks, it's really him. I see. DIY cutscene stunts. For complex cutscenes, director Boris and I filmed ourselves with phones and webcams. The final part 2 scene where Harley collapses on the floor cost us a week of bruises, but it worked. Oh, like Harley falling down the floor. And like they actually recreated that. Did they not have access to like a mattress? Or I guess that would still cost some bruises. Asylum director's portraits. Every portrait in part 2. I feel like this probably should have been in part 2's bonus content, but okay. Every portrait in part 2 depicts someone who helped the project. Special thanks to Jeff, Trufia, and Jessica Forsaken Souls for the title. Another director, Tyler, was a young QA specialist at Big Fish Games, and we were his first studio. As he quickly rose through the ranks, he championed Mystery 5 and Raider Trufia, pushing both through approvals that would have normally blocked anything remotely related to horror. Without Tyler, Goblins, let alone Trufia, likely wouldn't exist. Thank you, Tyler. The original title. The working title was and still remains Bad Omen. Certainly less catchy, yeah. Mystery Fowie. Good thing I played this game. Since kindergarten, I've been spinning horror tales around campfires and school essays, even in love letters. In love letters, okay. Yet every time I pitch a story-heavy game, publishers replied, "Players don't want to read. Give them bright colors and a 5-minute distraction." I have noticed that for certain casual hidden object games, yes. Eventually ran out of money and I stared at my bank account and thought, Dimmy, this might be your last game, make one you actually like. I sold my car, moved back in with my parents, and restarted Mystery Valley. To stretch the budget, I kept just one programmer, 19-year-old intern Jack, okay, and one artist, Svetlana, a college dropout who handled concept art, 3D, and final paint overs. I did the sound design and scourge music from free use libraries. Yeah, the music is from stock music. I got multiple copyright claims on my videos of the game. Another intern, Boris, taught himself cutscene production at night classes, and Jack's girlfriend tripped him wherever he could. The finished game took under an hour to beat. Took me 3 hours, but okay. Well below Big Fish's 5-hour minimum. But producer Tyler, yes, the same Tyler, pushed it through anyways. Singing in the bar the night of the release, I got an email from Big Fish Studio. Mystery 5 was charting near the top, and we become one of the best-selling titles that year. Goblins was not only safe, from then on I knew not only to trust my instinct, and the publisher learned not to interfere too much. And if you're still wondering, Sylvania and Boris are still with me. Well, Jack now runs a major studio, but drops by often and is always willing to help. Yeah. It's fascinating to read this backstory for Mystery Valley. I'm glad I played this because playing the game itself, like, without knowing this context, like, it's not like, it sounds harsh, but like, when you play the game, it's not like super impressive or anything, and it's like, fine, but like, when you actually read the context of like how much actual blood, sweat, and tears was done just to get the game going, it makes it more impressive. Like, I still would, like, honestly speaking, I would probably not replay the game, but like, it makes it more impressive, like, knowing the efforts put behind it. The fans are true north. True Fear shattered the review record at Big Fish Games, but we truly didn't feel the impact until we went independent and could talk to players. Reading your theories, seeing the timeline a devoted fan charted. Discovering fan art, I spent hundreds of hours with your words and creations, sometimes laughing, sometimes crying, the happiest day of my life. Thank you for every message, sketch, and late night Reddit debate. Your support didn't just keep us going, it shaped who goblins became. That's nice. I mean, I didn't really become a fan until after the whole trilogy release, but thank you. Okay, okay, full disclosure and the last book, last tab. When we began to run low on funds, we started taking on contract work to support our cash flow. We would secure a job, bring in the necessary specialists, and contribute our planning and management expertise. Try not to laugh. Some projects required only limited involvement. For example, when we helped with special effects on Boulder Gate 3. I checked the credits. That is completely true, by the way. I checked the credits for Baldur's Gate 3. Goblins is in the credits. They're not lying. And handled a specific platform port for another world. On another tile, our role was more substantial. We created most of the visuals, animations, and special effects for Little Big Adventure. And for Tell Me Why, we developed a full prototype that helped the studio secure funding. These hosts did more than plug the budget hole. They split our fixed costs, let the team level up new skills, and introduced us to a host of generous, brilliant devs. Without that detour, Part 3 probably wouldn't exist. Huge thanks to every studio that trusted us, and to the friends who floated loans or stepped in when our bank froze the accounts. Apparently building a sequel that can't break even because we owe the fans trips every throttle. Because we owe the fans trips every throttle on. And as always, thank you. Your messages, fan art, and volunteer translations kept us going when the meter hit 0. Goblins is still here because you never stopped cheering. There's the copyright information for cover art. I was wondering about this. Yeah. Okay, that's all the extras content for part 3. Yeah. That's all I have to say. Yeah. I'll re-record different footage for the extras content because I was a bit slow to post on my Roma Tummy channel so people can see it, but yeah. Yeah, and it was pretty substantial. I get why it took a while. Maybe not as long, but I get why it took a while to put that together. Yeah, let's see. It's a good thing they released the extras content finally, because now I know more of the context behind the trilogy. And like, in terms of like the trilogy content itself, there's still, like, it's still pretty good, like, for sure. There's like a lot to be lacking, but like, the context like explains a lot. Like, a lot was cut and a lot of shit happened behind the scenes. I get it now. Yeah. You don't know what else to I don't really know what else to say. Like, it speaks for itself. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. Let's see. Yeah. Also, I finished Fantastic Findings. I'll just close out the game. I finished Fantastic Findings an hour ago. There's probably according to the end of the game, it said the ending Fantastic Findings. There's probably gonna be an update sometime in December with a new level or something, according to the end of that. So I'll probably do that. How long did it take? Good question. Let's see. Most of the stream has just been me reacting to the extras content. An hour. Yeah. It took another hour to find the remaining items. Yeah. Let me check the Facebook to see what Goblin said, and then we could call it a day. Will be too many. Okay. Cool. Just the Facebook post just announced they finally put the thing on every version of the game. Cool. I have nothing else to say. Just it's very cool to get more context for how part 3 and the whole trilogy was planned. Yeah, that's about it for today. I'll see you tomorrow when I stream the second game of the Drawn trilogy. Yeah, thank you everyone who's watched any part of this video. I'll see you all then. Have a good rest of your day. Bye bye.